All right, guys. So as always, let me do a recap of the Academy of Creatives meeting that we just had. Today, I'm gonna draw it as we go because that's how we did it, and we used the internal whiteboard on our software. So it was a great meeting, and it was about finding niche. Okay, finding your niche, and I'll dive straight in. I shared two frameworks and one concept or idea, where if you want to find your niche, or if you want to refine your niche a little bit more, because it's a process, right? You start with the niche onion of what we can call it, right? So it's a very broad niche. I'll use an example of my social anxiety coaching, right? So you can start with social anxiety. That's your broad topic, broad idea. And then you can zoom in a little bit more into, well, maybe I want to focus on adults with social anxiety, right? Adults with social anxiety. Okay, and it's zoomed in a little bit more. Now we can zoom in a little bit more, or peeling the layers of the onion more. We can say lonely adults with social anxiety working from home, right? And you can see how it's getting more and more clear and more specific. And then at the very end, I could say something like lonely adults lonely adults with social anxiety working from home, who've already tried therapy and already tried this and that, and they always just they always find a friend, and then it feels like a one-sided friendship, and then it just never works out. It falls apart, and they just don't know what to do, and they are ready to just try something completely different, completely new, right? And that would be my niche. Now, the core idea here, the core takeaway, is to know that you want to zoom in as much as possible, but you do it throughout the time. So you don't really start by talking about this. I never started by talking about this, even though this is my niche. Those has been my favorite clients to work with by far. They made the most progress, they get the best results, they paid the most amount of money, and they were the most fun to work with, right? When it comes to this part of my business. But I just started by talking about social anxiety at first, right? And then I specified a little bit more, like, oh, I don't want to talk to kids. I want to talk to adults with social anxiety. And then I said, okay, I want to talk to adults with social anxiety who are working from home, right? And so it was a step-by-step process where this took me a longer time to figure out, and that's what I did, and that's how it was. So if you are finding your niche, I recommend you using this model, this niche onion, right? Use this niche onion and try to figure out what your topics are at first, and then you will be able to go deeper and deeper. But start creating, start putting out there, start having conversations, start getting feedback, and that's how you will zoom in into this. You will never be able to start from this, and you will just waste time, hold yourself back. Now, the other idea, the other topic that we talked about today was the funnel, right? And again, I'll use an example from our real life, just like this is my real niche, this is my real business, this is how I do it, this is how I did it. This is the idea of like, me and Sam just signed up a new client for our private program, and this is exactly how he signed up, how he found out. So the funnel has 3 steps, it's very simple, and it starts as broad. And by the way, you can use this in any area of your business. You can use this with Meetup as lead generation. You can use this as content with lead generation. You can use this as a mini course or YouTube videos or shorts or reels or Facebook text. It's all the same way, right? It's all the same way. So you start with something broad, and then you zoom in into more narrow, and then you go into your niche. Whereas your niche is right here. It's the dot, right? Whereas the broad is the broad topic. So you don't want to start with just anything, right? But the whole topic on the outside of the onion, that's your broad topic. Now, these in the middle are gonna be more narrow, and then this in the middle is your niche. That's where you make your offer. So let me walk you through this again, right? So me and Sam have this offer, this niche of helping beginner creators and beginner entrepreneurs launch their business and post their first videos online, right? Very simple. Post their first videos online so they can grow their brand and start making sales online. Pretty straightforward, very narrow, very niche, right? We started with a broad personal growth meetup. Personal growth meetup for online entrepreneurs, basically, right? Because we are in this kind of field, in this kind of space. So it was a broad personal growth meetup, and maybe 6, 7, 8 people showed up at that day. Okay, and we just started by talking about personal growth. Very broad topic. It attracted a couple of people. It was great. During that meetup, we talked about something more narrow. We talked about the topic of content creation. We talked about the topic of online sales, online business, right? And then at the end of the meetup, we gave our offer, which was very targeted towards our niche. Hey, if you want to start your business online and you've been overthinking and you've been struggling and you feel like you need help with some mindset and strategy and you want to come to our house, spend 4 hours with us and build your strategy, build your mindset, and then go into our content studio, film your videos and walk away with videos filmed, then you can come to our workshop on Sunday. This is what we do. If you want to sign up, if you want to know more, let me know, right? And a person raised their hand. He said, yes, I want to go. He went, he signed up for the workshop, he paid for the workshop, and then afterwards, he also signed up for our private program for the next 6 months, right? So you can see clearly how our meetup strategy for lead generation, in this case, led from broad to narrow to niche. Very specifically, he resonated with all of it. He resonated with the offer inside the niche, and he signed up, right? And so you can do this. Let's say if you wanted to do a YouTube video, you use a similar framework, similar setup that we used inside our meetup, right? Or you can also use this in a very small scale within a 30-second video. You open with a broad topic, with a broad relatable conversation. You narrow the topic more into a more narrow conversation, and then you make a very specific niche call to action. So those are the two ideas, two frameworks that you can work through, that you can journal on, right? You can journal on, okay, what's my outside layer, what's my indoor layer, what's my more layer, what are the layers, how we can zoom it in as an exercise. And you can also think about this, how you can frame your meetups, how you can frame your content, how you can frame things that you do in this funnel idea. And then the last topic, the last idea we talked about was the idea of you want your content, you want your brand to be like the lighthouse for people who want your offers, who want your help, who want your advice, right? So you can imagine that people are like the boats kind of like floating around, right? Floating around in the sea at night, and they are lost. And they don't know what to do. They are fearful to take the next step even, right? Because they don't know where they would go. And here you are with your big lighthouse, shining brightly, shining your light, telling them what's possible, right? With your light. And you can guide them. You can point to them, and they will be happy to go to your shore because you've helped them out. They've seen what's possible for them, right? So you want your content and you want your broad stuff be like the lighthouse. Show them what's possible. And that way they will be attracted to you. That's how your content will attract it. That's how you can think about it as a metaphor. It helped me a lot as well. We could go deeper into this, but this is what we covered on the meeting today. Hope you enjoyed the recap. Hope you apply this into your business, into your life, and I'll see you in the next one. Make sure that you can join at the meetup itself, at the mastermind itself. Let's go.